Last week we had a look at expansion. Last week we looked at expansions. And expanding, we said it simply means opening brackets. And today we are looking at expansions which can lead to a quadratic expression or a quadratic equation. I know at your level you have never heard of a quadratic equation, but we are going to look at it now. So we are saying we consider a product of two functions. That is, we are having x plus 3 and we are multiplying it by x plus 4, as you can see. So if you remember very well how we expanded this, we said it is the same as getting this x, then you multiply it by the whole of this bracket, then you add 3, and again you multiply it by the whole of that bracket. So this will give us x into x plus 3, I mean x plus 4, as you can see, then plus 3 into x plus 4. Now when we open brackets, we are going to have x times x. Now I want to say this, x times x is not 2x. It is x plus x, which gives you 2x. So x times x, the answer is x squared. Just as I may have 2 times 2, and the answer is 4. So I want you to understand that properly, that x times x, the answer is x squared. This will be plus 4x, then plus 3x plus 12. X times x, that is x squared. X times 4, that is 4x. And 3, this is positive 3. If it was a minus, then it would have been negative 3 times x, which gives you negative 3x. But since it is a positive, then we shall have 3 times x, which is 3x plus 3 times 4, and the answer is 12. So what do we do after that? We collect like terms. Another thing that I want to caution you is that you cannot have x squared and you add 4x. These two terms are not the same. This is x squared, but this is x. However, if this is 4x and this is 3x, then we can add these two together because the unknowns are the same. This is x and this is x. So we shall have 4x plus 3x, and it gives us 7x plus 12. Now, this kind of expression is the one that we call a quadratic expression or a quadratic equation. So we are saying this kind of an expression where the highest power is 2. So for a quadratic equation, we are learning from today that the highest power of 2. By the way, when you see this one as 7x, it means it is 7x to power 1. Because any number to power 1 is that number. So x to power 1 is x. So we multiply it by 7. So this gives us where the highest power is 2. That makes it a quadratic equation. So a quadratic equation is an equation or expression where the highest power of the unknown is 2. If the equation was only like this, then it wouldn't have been a quadratic equation. In that case, we call it a linear equation. But even if it is just like this, x squared, and nothing else is there, then even this is a quadratic equation. What does that mean? It means x, it is 0, even here it is 0. So this kind of an expression where the highest power is 2 is called a quadratic expression. Most quadratic expressions have 3 distinct terms known as quadratic terms. So this quadratic expression, it has 3 different terms. The first term is this one where the highest power is 2, and this one is called the quadratic term. In other words, this is the one that makes it a quadratic equation where the highest power is 2. So x to power 2, that is the quadratic term. Then there is also the linear term. The linear term, this is a mistake. I will correct it. The linear term is supposed to be 7x. So this one is supposed to be 7x. We shall correct that. So the linear term is 7x and the constant is 12. Now the constant is the one that does not contain any unknown. It is called a constant. So a quadratic equation has 3 terms, where one term is a quadratic term, and the quadratic term here is x squared, and the linear term is 7x, and the constant is 12. The constant is 12. Now, a quadratic expression must have a quadratic term, which should also be the term with the highest power. A quadratic expression must have a quadratic term, and the quadratic term should be the one with the highest power. This one cannot be a highest power, so it cannot be the quadratic term. The highest power of the unknown. E.g., we look at this quadratic equation. This is a quadratic equation because the highest power of the unknown is 2. Then this is the linear term, and this is the constant. Now, when you look at this one becomes the quadratic equation, but in form of a. So in this case, the unknown is a. And that's why it is a squared plus 2a. Then this one also becomes the quadratic equation in form of y, because the highest power of y is 2. The highest power of y is 2. Then this one and the linear term is negative 2, not positive 2, because there is a negative. So the linear term here is negative 2. This now is also a quadratic equation because the highest power here is 2, but it does not have a linear term, meaning where there is a linear term, there is 0, meaning the value of x is 0. So the value of c, where there is a linear term, is 0, and the constant is negative 4. So this equation does not have a linear term, but it is still a quadratic equation. It is still a quadratic equation. In case you have a question on as we move on, please feel free to ask. Just unmute and ask the question. In case you have a question that will disturb you. But we said we need to collect this. I will collect it before sending you the notes. This one is supposed to be 7x for the linear term. We have more examples. Expand and simplify. Here is my first example. Pay attention this time. I want all of you to pass. I have 2x, and by the way, without this knowledge of expansion, then you can never be good at mathematics. Expand and simplify. We have 2x. plus 1 into x plus 3. How do we do this? We agreed the other time that we first get this 2x and we multiply it by the whole of the second bracket. So it will be 2x into x plus 3. Then after that, we add this 1 and again multiply it by the whole of the second bracket, which is plus 1 into x plus 3. Then when we finish that, we can open the brackets. 2x times x, we agreed that x times x is x squared. X times x is x squared. So 2x times x, the answer is 2x squared. Then 2x times 3, the answer is 6x. Then 1 times x, the answer is x. And 1 times 3, the answer is 3, as you can see. So finally, we shall have to add, because these two are the same, 6x plus x, and we shall have 2x squared plus 7x. Then this is supposed to be plus 3. Plus 3. Yes. So the answer is 2x squared plus 7x plus 3, which also gives you a quadratic equation. Now part B, you can see we are expanding this, so we shall have x and multiply it by the whole of the second bracket here. So it will be x times x minus 3. Then this time it is negative 5, x minus 5. So we shall have minus 5 and we multiply it by the whole of this bracket here. So finally it gives us x squared minus 3x minus 5x plus 15. And here, these two are the same. They have the same unknown, negative 3x minus 5x. The answer is negative 8x. So finally, we have x squared minus 8x plus 15. We have another one here. We have 2a minus 3, and we are multiplying it by 5a minus 4. So this one will give us 2a times the whole of that bracket, which is 2a into 5a minus 4, then minus 3 into 5a minus 4. When we open brackets, we get 10a squared minus 8a, then minus 15a plus 12. And these two have the same unknown. But don't add a squared to a. So we shall get 10a squared minus 23a, negative 8 minus 15. I think the answer is negative 23 from the calculator. Then plus 12. And this becomes our answer, or our quadratic equation. So what is the quadratic term here? The quadratic term is 10a squared. The linear term is negative 23a, and the constant is 12. So we are now moving on to the quadratic identities. Quadratic identities. Show. They want you to show that a plus b is equal to a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. Now, listen properly. Up to now, even students of senior 4 still make a mistake here. When we tell them to expand a plus b squared, do you know the answer they give us? They tell us that it is a squared plus b squared. I want to tell you that is very, very wrong. You have murdered the mathematics. They say this is a squared plus b squared. That is not correct. So me, I'm saying for you, the way you should do it, a plus b squared. If you have 2 squared, you say it is 2 times 2, and the answer is 4. So a plus b squared, you must say that it is the same as a plus b into a plus b. So you multiply these two brackets. And how do you multiply? This one will be a times a, you times the whole of this bracket, which is a plus b, then plus b, which is this one, times the whole of that bracket. So a times the whole of that bracket, which is this, then plus b times the whole bracket, which gives us a squared plus ab, then plus ba, then b times b, the answer is b squared. But now, when you observe properly, AB and BA, there is no difference, they are the same. So we add them together and we shall get a squared plus 2AB, then plus B squared. And we shall have shown what they want us to do. Therefore, A plus B squared is equal to A squared plus 2AB plus B squared. So this one is a quadratic identity for addition of A plus B squared. So I can ask you to get for me the answer of x plus 2. That means x will be equal to A and 2 will be equal to B. So you will expand properly like that. This identity should always move within the head because anytime we can use it, most especially when we are factorizing. Now another identity is here. We want you to show that a minus b into, a minus b squared is equal to a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. Now, as I have been telling you, a minus b squared is the same as a minus b into a minus b. It is the same as a minus b into a minus b. So this one will be the same as, you get this a, you multiply it by the whole of this bracket, a times the whole bracket, then you subtract minus b into a minus the whole bracket, minus b into a minus, this is minus b, then you multiply it by the second bracket. You first get a times the second bracket, which is this, then minus b times the second bracket again, which gives us a squared minus, this is a squared, then positive times a negative is minus. So a times negative b, the answer is negative ab. Then negative b times a, the answer is negative b a. Then plus b, negative b. A negative times a negative, the answer is positive. Most of you made that mistake in the assignment that I gave you the other time. You were still making this one a negative, which is wrong. A negative times a negative, the answer is a positive. So this is supposed to be what? Positive. And it gives you a squared. Now these two are the same. It is like minus ab, then minus ab. The answer is now 2, but negative, so it is negative 2ab. So this is negative 2ab plus b squared, which is this one. So it means a minus b squared, the answer is a squared minus 2ab, then plus b squared. That's what it means. Now, number 3, identity number 3, show that a plus b into a minus b is equal to a squared minus b squared. That is the other identity. So what are we going to do? We shall multiply as we have been doing. So this will be a plus b into a minus b is the same as, you get a and multiply by the second bracket, which is a minus b, then plus b, and you multiply by the second bracket, which is a minus b. So this gives you a squared minus ab, then plus ba minus b squared. So these two are the same. Negative ab and positive ba, they are the same, but this is negative and this is positive. So that means we are going to have 0 here for that one. And we shall end up with a squared minus b squared. So this is our third identity, and we are saying this third identity is called a difference of two squares. Why do we call it a difference of two squares? Because you are subtracting two numbers which are squared. This is a squared, so it is a square, and this is b squared. And the difference means subtraction. So this is a difference of two squares. So the three important identities that must always be remembered in mathematics are, we have a plus b, so it is always equal to a squared plus 2ab. You first square this one, you get a squared plus 2 times ab. That is 2 times a times b. Then finally plus b squared. Then a minus b squared is the same as a squared, then minus 2a times b, then plus b squared. And finally, a plus b into a minus b is a difference of two squares, and it is equal to a squared minus b squared. I now want to invite questions from you, from anywhere that you feel is not clear. Any question? Aliho, namesake.
Yes.
How are you? Is everything okay?
Yes.
It is very simple work. Any question from you people?